we're going to learn a little bit about hierarchies real quick. Let's just take a quick aside and see how hierarchies can affect um, can affect the way a piece of geometry deforms, because it doesn't always deform in the way that we think. So I'm going to start out with a cube, and I'll zoom in a bit. And with this cube, I'm going to group it. Command G. Now, let's look at the pivot point. The pivot point is right in the center. So that means if I rotate this guy, he rotates like this. If I rotate the group, it rotates like this. Now, this is because the local space, there in Maya there's world space, which is XYZ. So each one of these objects is going to be located in, or everything in this space is going to be located in the world space. Now, because this cube is parented under the group, it is now affected by the local space. So if we look here, my cube locally is 0, 0, 0 in translate. It's right at the 0, 0, 0 of the XYZ axis. If I move my group over here, this cube is now at negative 3 point, let's just do it like this, minus 4, at minus 4x world space. In the world it's there, but look at my cube. Locally, it's still 0, 0. So there's world space and there's local space. And that can lead to some interesting things. One, it means that I can put a lot of information in my group, but when I want to animate this cube, I can animate it. Let's say I go rotate and I'm going to rotate it here. Go here, rotate it some more, move it over. Alright, and I want to zero this out. Okay, so I have a little bit of animation going on. So I can add all of this animation going on while in the cube local space, while keeping my group my group space the way it is. So I can move this around, and my local space for the cube is the same. Alright? Now, why is this important? First off, sometimes we'll need to go back here and we say, you know what? I don't want any of this animation. I'm going to delete it, the keys, and I want to zero them out. So there we go. Now, my local space here is zeroed out, and I can do, okay, I'm going to do a brand new animation just in that local space. But I can still move this around however I want. Okay? Now, the other way that local space can influence an object is scale. So if I scale my cube right here, let's do scale 0.3 right here, then you see that it gets thinner, which makes sense. And when it rotates as we expect. Right? Now, let's bring this back to 1, 1, 1, zero this out, or put the defaults back to 1 in the scale. And then here, I'm going to do the scale 0.3. So same thing, right? I have the same kind of scaling happening. But let's see what happens when I rotate this. It rotates within the local space of the group. So instead of rotating, and we'll just do 2 examples right here. Let's put this as 1. Okay, 0.3. So we can see here, I rotate both of these, they're going to rotate very differently because this one is affected by the local space of the group scale. This one is also affected, but because the default is 1, it's rotating the way we want to. And this sometimes can create some problems because it does things that we don't want them to, so we have to be careful about how we scale our local spaces. But at the same time, it can give us effects that we might want, which kind of brings us back to the eye setup that we have in the other tutorial.